Hello and welcome to the Life and Fight of a podcast. This is the UKFC MMA Fighter Edition. I'm Jake Cross from Empire Grappling and President of UK Fighting Championships. I'm joined by amateur flyweight and previously bantamweight as well. Have you just always been flyweight?
Always fly, yeah.
Always fly in Scott Johnson, the almighty flyweight champion. How's it going, Scott?
Good, yourself?
Good, man. Keeping as sane as possible. So, a little introduction there on yourself, but we'll give people a bit more background. You've just told us that you're 23 years old. That was before we went live. You're still 23 even after we went live. That's not what I meant. So let's just start at the beginning so people can get to know you a bit more. What got you into the sport and when was this?
Well, I first started doing Thai boxing with Simon Utley. Don't know if you know me.
The name rings a bell, yeah.
Yeah, when I was about 11 or 12 maybe. And then I done that for a few years, and then the Thai gym there went over to starting doing a bit of MMA. I think it was Rob Broughton was the first MMA coach there. So then I started going over into MMA when I was about 13, 14. Then just trained for a few years. Had my debut at 16. But my dad and brothers had always done a bit of freestyle wrestling before that. So I sort of done a bit of wrestling before that myself, which led on to joining the Thai boxing and the wrestling to the MMA. So that's how pretty much first began my MMA career, basically.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure I'm right on this one. So when you, obviously Rob Broughton is the heavyweight from Hammer, is that right? So obviously he's come over as training you. Then did you transition from that Thai to Hammer at first?
No, I was at Sapphire.
Sapphire.
It was Sapphire MMA at the time. It was Mick Gerard was running it at the time when I made my debut, and then that sort of got sold to Ian Munzberger. He had it for a bit, and then when the renovation was happening, that's when I moved over and started training at Hammer for a bit.
So what was that transition like from obviously the Thai kickboxing background and then to like technically a full MMA gym at Hammer, training under Sean, and you had the likes of Conor Hignett and etc. Now, so him being as small as you and something to look up to. What was that transition like at the early age?
Well, it was good, like, because at the time Conor was like an up and coming amateur himself. So I was mainly just doing the freestyle wrestling at the time. When I moved to Hammer, I was doing like freestyle wrestling because my dad and my brother was teaching the freestyle wrestling there, Eddie. And then I was doing bits of pads with them. And then like I was in and out of it. I was doing a bit of jiu-jitsu and that, but I weren't really concentrating on training that much. Like I sort of lost me like the love of the sport for a bit. And then obviously then I fought, I think it was Gary Taylor out of Hammer, I think it was, my first fight out of there. Or might have been Danny Waldron. That was on, the Danny Waldron fight was on like an hour's notice. Wow. That was in Newcastle. Our Eddie was fighting on the show. So we drove down to Newcastle and we stopped off at the services. I got loads of Krispy Kreme donuts. They had about 6 or 7 of them. They got down to the venue. One of the fighters dropped out on the day due to an injury or failed his medical or something. So they offered me the fight, but he had no gear with me. He had no groin guard, no nothing. I had a pair of old Thai boxing shorts in my dad's car. There was a Sports Direct around the corner, so I ran round to Sports Direct, got myself a gummy, and I used our Eddie's groin guard. And like it was mad, but if I didn't get him out there in the first, I was definitely not making the second or the third round. It was gassed, bad. It was bad. It was horrible.
So your first fight against James Hillman, your debut 2013, was that under amateur C rules maybe?
No, MMA.
MMA, so obviously even back then. So you would have been, how old?
I was 16. 16, yeah.
So was that out of Sapphire at that point, that fight?
That was out of Sapphire, yeah. I think he was 27 when I fought him.
Wow.
So I was 16, he was 27. It was a bit of a mad one. Like, he had like 11 years on me, but he come up to me after the fight, actually. And he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry about it. I underestimated you as a fighter. I thought I was just going to go through you because you were so young." And I'm like, a full adult, 27, got me man strength and all that, and obviously it never happened like that way, did it?
I've been through similar. When I was 19, I fought like a 35-year-old, and he tried to out-strength me, got him in a triangle and transitioned to an armbar and finished him. But it was when I had 2 fights in one day. Ended up fighting his teammate who was my age, and he thought he was going to walk through me because he was my age, and I just thought, I'll just walk through technically your dad. You know, he literally, rather than touch gloves, he just rushed me. He faked the glove tap, hit me and wwent for a takedown. So I defended it, turned around and triangled him, and I was like, you just tried to outstrength me when I just outstrength technically your dad. But, I know how you feel on this.
Yeah, I could feel the strength difference like between the two of us, but I think I was just technically better than him. I think he was 1-3 when I fought him or something like that.
So that's Sapphire. Like you say, I presume when you say you took it on the last minute, that might have been the transition between sort of Sapphire and Hammer and Danny Waldron. You took that on an hour's notice. How did that fight go for you? Like you say, you're glad you got him out in the first round, but on an hour's notice, what's going through your head? Because that's technically like, I know you're not now, but that's like journeyman mentality. Turn up to a fight, taking it, no groin, no gummy.
Yeah, so it was mad. But I remember warming up in the back, and I was hitting pads for a bit, and I was just thinking, wow, I'm going to gas here bad. I was gassing off like 1 round of pads. Because I had
big creams coming out.
Yeah, that's what it was. I had like 6 or 7 of them on the way down, just scranning loads of shit. But I just thought I'm going to have to get this kid out of here quick, otherwise I'm gassing and he'll probably fill me in.
Is he more your age?
I think he was the same age. I think at the time, but when I went there, they were saying, "Oh, you sure you want to take this fight?" He's meant to be like, because it was in Newcastle, it was on like ICO, I think it was. And he was saying, "Oh, you sure you want to take it?" He's meant to be like some grappler or something, and meant to be up and coming there at the time or something like that. But I just thought, yeah, why not?
So between the James Hillman fight, that's August 2013. Then it's literally 5 years ago, more or less, April 2015 is Danny Waldron. So there is a bit of a gap between debut and second fight, and the second fight's on a short notice. Is it because you fell out of love with the sport was such that the long period and it was just a last minute fight that sort of got you back into love with it? What made you take that transition back into training full time?
I don't know. You know, it was just, I saw that fight sort of lit a spark back in me again. And then I wanted to try and stay active as much as I can from them. But I think I had another break a little bit after the Liam Gittins fight. I think it was like 2 years again.
Yeah, so we go on to Gary Taylor then. That's literally keeping active there, June 2015, Budo 9. You faced Gary.
That was on 2 weeks, I think. 2 weeks notice or 3 weeks, that one.
So another short notice fight, but you got the distance in this one. Unanimous decision. What was that like? Obviously, back-to-back fights within a couple of months against short notice opponents. What was that like stepping in there?
Well, I upped my training there, so I was still training, but it weren't like fight camp training. I only had like pretty much a 3-week fight camp, but I didn't really know nothing of him. I couldn't find anything on him when I was looking, so I just went in there and just thought, just wrestle him and just take him down and just grind the victory out.
So you're at Hammer. At what point in your career do you leave higher on your fights? Is it after the Conor Wilson fight, or is it what? At what point?
No, it was before that. It was after the Gary Taylor fight. It was.
So Gittins was your first fight under LVT or Aspire? What would it
be? LVT.
LVT.
Mick Gerard. I was training at Hammer at the time, and then Mick was coming in and doing a bit. Mick Gerard, and because Mick only lives around the corner from me, he said, "Oh, we'll come up to this gym and staying down there with Phil." It was because it was Phil's gym at the time. And so we was just going, I was doing a bit of both. I was going up there for like 2 days and then going to Hammer for like 3 days and mixing me training up. And then I sort of like, Phil's way of coaching, I fell in love with it, and I just made the transition over to his gym full time, and then I've been with Phil ever since then.
So you're 3-0, you're riding high, then you get the Liam Gittins fight, and I think anyone that's fought in the flyweight division, especially the amateur ranks in the last 5 years, would have come across Liam Gittins at some point. Probably one of the best amateur fighters we've all seen in the last few years. What was it like to come across a first loss, but it's only a split decision loss against one of the best, now looking back, one of the best flyweights in the country, and now probably one of the best pros as well, coming up and coming. What was it like now looking back?
I always knew it was going to be a tough fight because I watched a few of his fights before that in the 3 fights, and he's just relentless. He doesn't stop coming forward. He's a horrible fight, to be honest. And it was a five round fight that was for the title and Budo. So I knew it was going to be tough, and like I think I was saying, and I think I took the fight while I was a hammer. To be honest, I don't know if it took it while I was a hammer, and then it was on the transition over. So I had like a 4 or 5 week, I think it was 4 weeks with Phil training for that fight. But he's horrible, you know, horrible to fight him, horrible. I remember the first round, I done well in the first round with him. I think I won the first round personally, like, and then his forward pressure is just horrible. Then so this come out for the second, and I remember just thinking my arms and legs have gone here, and so he put it on me for the second and the third. Like, I think the third round I was in a dance or something for like a minute and a half or something mad like that, and then like coming out for the fourth round, I got like a second wind. So I think I took him down in the fourth, and I had his back for most of the round. And I remember when I watched it back, it goes. I have the rear naked choke, and it's fully locked in, and I just had nothing in my arm, so I couldn't squeeze or nothing. And then the fifth round was close. I think that was the deciding round really between the fight. But a lot of people were saying that I should have won, and a lot of people saying that he should have won. So it was very close. Like,
I guess at the amateur level, these are the fights you want to learn from. So you would rather have the W, rather have got that belt. But facing someone like that, going 5 rounds, learning that you can get that second wind, learning not to hold on to certain positions because it tires your arms out, stuff like that. It's all a learning curve. So I feel like at the end of your amateur career, I think people will look back at you the same. They look back at Marlon and Liam and stuff like that. Is that you were never scared to take a fight, proves it. Danny Waldron on an hour's notice, Gary Taylor on 2 weeks' notice, facing Liam Gittins when you're still young in your amateur career. After that, you move on to Connor Wilson. It doesn't go your way again. It's on Cage Warriors. Obviously, it's I presume that one was in Liverpool. Is that right? Would that be Olympia?
Yeah, it was in Olympia, that one. Yeah.
So is that obviously amateur cage battles when you're quite young in your age, so you don't really think about the crowd. But returning to Liverpool, it must have been a lot of pressure, especially coming off a 5 round loss. It's not only a loss; it's 2.5 years later, more or less. What was going on in 2.5 years?
Well, after the Liam Gittins fight, I had a bit of an injury and I had to get surgery. So I had to have like 6 months or something out after that. And then again, it was just like hard getting back into training after having so long out and not doing nothing. It was just like it was the fire had gone again, and it was almost like I had to be relit again inside me. So I was still training. I was still doing like 2 or 3 days training, but I didn't want to fight. I was just like, oh, I can't be bothered fighting. And I think if you're trying to fight and you haven't got that fire inside you, there's no point even going into the cage, because you're going in already at like 50% because you don't really want to be in there anyway. So I didn't want to get back and fight until it being relit again, because I knew it was going to happen, because I've always loved sport and I've always loved fighting. So it was going to happen at one point, but just when, I didn't know.
So after the 2.5 year hiatus, what was the spark that got you back in against Connor Wilson at a hometown crowd at the Olympia?
I don't know. I was just training, and I was up on my training a bit, so I started doing like more and more, and then I thought, like, I was starting to do the Friday sparring classes again, and I think I just thought, well, if I'm training 5 days, 6 days a week, why not get back in there and do something I love doing anyway? So I said to Phil, I said, let's get a fight on as quick as we can within it's like the next 10, 12 weeks, and that fight come up and we took it.
So how do you feel like that fight went? When obviously second round TKO loss for yourself, but do you feel like you were still growing and you were still learning? It was just one of them days where you got beat by a better guy. What sort of happened in that fight with you?
Well, to be honest, he missed weight by quite a bit. I weighed in at 57, and he weighed in 60.3. So he missed weight by quite a bit.
So you've been cutting, draining yourself, and it doesn't look like he even tried.
Nah, and we got, so there was a bit like of at the weigh-ins, there's a bit like of a little thing what went on. So we come on, missed weight, weighed in at like 60.3. So it's like he's missed weight by quite a lot. So we said to him, listen, go back to sauna and blah, blah, blah. And he was like, no, don't, just take the fight and blah, blah, blah. And so we sent him back to sauna for 2 hours, and then he come back, weighed in again. Didn't even lose, nothing, not a single thing, 60.3 again. So he definitely just sat outside the sauna. So I had to talk with Phil and Dean, and I said to Phil and Dean, like, Phil and Dean didn't really want me to take the fight because it was such a massive weight that he'd missed by. But I said to them, listen, I've had like 2.5 years out. I want to just, doesn't matter if I win or lose. I just want to get back in there and get back active again. So we took the fight. Yeah, so we took the fight anyway. I remember being in the cage and looking over and just thinking, wow, he's massive here compared to me. I remember I shot a takedown on him. I think I took him down. He just popped straight back up, and I was just thinking, wow, he's strong here. So the weight paid. I think the weight played a massive factor in that fight as well. And I think that my decision making weren't the greatest either. I was holding on to takedowns when like I should have been pushing off and striking and re-entering for the takedown. So yeah, but it's all just learning, and it's amateur. So
that's a great mindset. So after being off for so long, it's just about getting back in there, not making the time that you put into it and the effort you put, and the weight cut as well, for nothing. Yeah, it didn't go your way, but I guess mentally you came out a lot stronger from that.
Definitely.
That brings 2018 to a close. So we're coming to 2019. You make your debut on UK Fighting Championships with us against a good up-and-comer, just like Liam Gittins and Sheldon Ryan. Great fight. Again, doesn't go in your way, but I feel like mentally how strong you are now, it goes to decision. How much do you feel like you've learned at this point? You come out of this fight 3-3, but what's grown the most in you being under Aspire?
I think in that fight against Sheldon, I think it finally all clicked for me. Like, I went in there the first round against him. I was started off slow. Come back to the corner for the second round. I had Liam in me. I think it was Dean, Liam, and I can't remember if it was Az or Phil in my corner. And I just remember coming out before the second round. Liam comes running in, looks at me and just goes boom, and just slaps me. I'm like, whoa, what are you doing? And he goes, do you want to win this fight or what? And I was like, well, yeah. And he's like, well, fucking sort your head out. But that like the second round to come out and take him down, and I think I have his back and I'm beating him up a bit in the second, and then the third round was that again. The third round was close. Nothing really happened in the third. It was just, I think what won in that fight was he had a little flurry at the end. But I wouldn't mind if facing him in the pros when we go pro. To be honest, that would be a decent fight for me, I think.
I guess you look at some amateur fights and think, yeah, maybe we both learn a little bit, take a couple of years, and then we come back in the pro ranks, which I'd love to see that fight again at some point down the line. That's March 2019, so that's basically just over a year ago. You're active now. You've fought twice in a few months, and then you fight again, literally 25th of May, 2019. This is Almighty. This is your Almighty debut. You face Adam Coling. You've both got 50-50 records, but I feel like you fought the who's who in the amateur division already. I expect Liam, Connor, and Sheldon. Them three names are ridiculous anyway. Obviously, Liam's now pro, Connor's now pro, and Sheldon's winning
5-1 or 6-1, is he now?
Exactly. And he's fought, I think after his win against you, he fought Jake Jenks and knocked him out. So you're fighting the who's who. Then you face Adam Cowling. You stop him by rear naked choke, and like you say in the Sheldon fight, everything clicked. So I feel like in this next fight, it was just stepping it up a few gears and then starting to put everything together. What's your thoughts going through that?
Well, that fight, I remember it warming up in the back at that fight, and just thinking, I like, this is it. I feel feel good, I feel sharp here, and I want to get this kid out of here, definitely. And I remember coming out, and I had I sold 70 or 80 tickets for that fight. It was in the Olympia. So I seen everyone in the crowd, and I remember just thinking to myself, right, that this is it now. Like, that fight was, I remember having in my head, that fight was like, either if I lose this fight, like, am I going to carry on fighting or what? And if I win it, I'm definitely going to carry on. But I don't think, even if I lost that fight, I would have stopped fighting anyway. Like, but that's what I remember having in my head in the back. If I lose this fight, I was 50-50 whether I was done fighting or not.
I guess that's what spurs you on a little bit. It's the mentality is do or die. And deep down, you didn't want to lose. You didn't want it to end. So it makes you pick up the pace a little bit more. You win that rear naked choke. You're now 4-3. You're back in the win column. And then you have a little bit of time off. But considering the time off you had previously, it's nothing really. You had 3 fights in 5 months. Then the summer comes. Everyone goes away, does their own thing.
I couldn't get a fight, to be honest. I had a few. I had a few. I think I was matched on one show. The kid pulled out. Then you couldn't get me a fight on the show, and couldn't get me a match. I was finding just a few people was declining me, I think.
Wow.
So that was why I had that break.
So it's only a few months anyway. It's the summer months. Yeah. You're still training and stuff. And then you fight Francis Breen from Next Generation. This is your second fight for a title. You're fighting for the AFC Flyweight Championship, another 5-rounder. And Fran is a great young fighter. He's
very good.
He's got a win over our champion at UKFC and Liam McCracken from a few years ago. Yeah. So he's going to a tough fight going into it. So before you even step in the cage, what's going through your head? You had that thought process against Adam Cowling, do or die. What's your thought process against Fran?
Well, it was quite a big fight for Liverpool gyms, really. Me versus Fran, it was Next Gen versus Fire, and so that I already experienced that with Conor Wilson because he's from Next Gen. So I think I had the upper edge in the fight against Fran because he had a bit more pressure than me, really. But yeah, again, at this point, my last fight, my confidence has gone through the roof. I think now I can handle anyone in the flyweight amateur division, to be honest, in the top 5. So I was very confident going into that fight, and I knew I'd finish him. Definitely knew I was going to get the finish.
So back-to-back rear naked chokes, round 3, towards the middle of the round. How do you feel like the fight went? Do you feel like you was outperforming him, or did you feel like you was a good test? What do you feel like it was going to before that rear naked choke?
I think I was better technically all round than him, to be honest. I don't really think he landed anything on me, to be honest. I think I got caught with a glancing hook in the second or something, and maybe a low kick. But I could have went and fought again straight after that fight, easy, definitely.
So that brings your first title, flyweight champion, riding high. Considering 6 months before you was ready to call it quits if it didn't go your way. Everything's turned around. We come to the end of 2019. I know your team were calling out our champion, but we had a number 1 contender already in place. I know that's a fight you want, Lewis McGrillen or Zach Fry, depending on who wins that. When that fight happens, depending obviously when lockdown ends, how do you see that fight going between Lewis and Zach?
I don't know. It's a good fight. Both of them are very good. Lewis has come and trained at our gym before and done some rounds with Lewis before in the gym, and Corey and Zach have been coming down the odd few weeks and doing a bit of sparring down at there, and I think it's a good fight. I think it goes the distance, to be honest. And it's going to be maybe even split decision if they're both technically very good. So it'd be a good test if I was matched up to Luke Pengafe, I think his name is, from SBG 6-1. I was meant to be defending my title against him in May on Almighty. So that fight's good, and I wouldn't mind getting the winner, to be honest. It's a good fight. I want to fight good people. I get along with both of them, and I message Lewis now and again and speak to them on Instagram and stuff, and Zach, same with Zach. But at the end of the day, we're all looking for the same goal, aren't we? So
I guess that's a good way to look at it. Obviously, even if you've trained together on a casual basis, and you're probably the same as well, quite biased, and I feel like the Northwest has the best fighters in the UK, especially at the amateur level. I feel like some of the fighters that we bring out at the minute would walk through most in the UK, maybe Europe, and I would like to put that to the test at some point.
Yeah.
But it's nice to know that you would face Zach. It's nice to know that you would face Lewis if it came to it. You want the number one spot in the UK in the amateur division. You're happy to defend the title against him. You want the UKFC title as well. We know we spoke about that before. If you could fight someone next out of them two, who would you pick? Who do you feel that would be the best fight for you? I don't mean that who you would think you would beat, but I mean like what stylistically.
I think Lewis would be a good fight, to be honest, because I haven't really fought someone as aggressive as him, and like I want to try and fight as many styles as I can before I get to the pro rank. So I think his aggression and like his style of fighting, he's like aggressive coming forward, and he's a good wrestler and stuff like that. And I think it stylistically would be a good fight, because I think I've been took down once in my whole amateur career, so I'd like to put it to the test and see if he could do what he's doing to everyone else against me. So I think he'd be the best stylistically fight for people watching anyway.
Great response. So that brings us up to date with regards to your amateur career. So when I was speaking to Liam last week or before, I'm losing track of the days now, I found out that you were engaged to his sister, which I wasn't even aware of. What's that like? You're one of your main training partners and someone that you've followed for a long time, now be engaged to his sister. Does that cause any sort of rifts or something, like when you're training, or is it just business?
Well, I've been with his sister now for 5 years in May, so I've known Liam quite a long time. So me and Liam are like basically like brothers anyway. So we train every day with each other. I'll pick him up for the gym, I'll take him home for the gym, and now like we're in quarantine together, and I'm training with him twice a day pretty much. So I think Liam enjoys it, to be honest, that his sister's with someone who's also on the same path as he's trying to follow as well. So it's good, I think.
When you said also that, I thought you were going to say someone that's awesome. So, like Liam said, as you just mentioned then, so you've moved in with Liam and his sister and his family to one. It's difficult being away from your partner, especially at this time, especially if you don't technically have a house together. So that's one reason. Another main reason is you're both champions of an organisation. You both can't miss a step. You both can learn off each other. You're both at a high level. So that's a secondary reason. So what's it been like living with Liam and still obviously not with different training partners, but keeping the high level and the high intensity of training? Do you feel like when you do come back, when everything is back to normal, that everyone's going to be 10 steps behind you because of this?
Definitely. Yeah, I think we're off the edge on everyone. Like, so we're training at least twice a day now. Like we done like a 10-mile run yesterday, so we're still reasonably fit, both of us. We're doing pads, and we can't really grapple because there's not enough really space. But we're still ticking over. We're still doing drills. We're still sparring and doing everything else. Doing the damn mitt and stuff, like Liam said about the damn mitt and stuff that we're doing. And so we're still doing like bits of strength and conditioning, Dutch drilling, kickboxing, sparring, running, going on bike rides and stuff. So we're still staying fit. So when we come back, I think we'll both be ready to just go straight into a camp and get the closest fight we can.
Amazing. So apart from now living with Liam and his sister and training as much as possible, is there anything you're doing with your spare time during lockdown? How is it affecting your sanity? And is it anything you're doing apart from training to keep yourself active and busy?
No, I don't really play on like games or nothing like that. They just bore me. Like I don't have a good attention span, to be honest. So we've just been training with him and training in the morning, training in the night, and then just spending a bit of time with my girlfriend because she's working from home. So, and Liam's little sister, just doing stuff with her just to keep my mind active. Because if I was just sitting there, I reckon I'd just lose the plot. Like I was. Before that, I was doing stuff with my little brother, because my little brother trains at Aspire as well, John. So he's only 15, but I was still like doing little bits with him, like keeping him active and doing like pads and stuff with him. But like, it's not the same as sparring with someone who's a fighter and like I think personally the best amateur featherweight in the UK at the minute.
So you're telling me there's a third Johnson brother coming onto the amateur scene at some point?
Yeah, next year, and he's a beast.
So
there's four of us. There's four of us. I've got Eddie. He's my oldest brother, and then I've got Danny. He's like my older brother as well, but he doesn't really do anything. He done wrestling when he was younger and that, but he doesn't really fight. And then there's me, and then there's my little brother John. And the way he's going on, I'm getting my beatings in now while I can before he starts smashing me head in. So
something tells me with a name like John Johnson, that's going to be like one of the like John Jones. It's just going to be one of the infamous names that comes through. So
definitely.
Just touch on that then. Where's Eddie up to right now? Is he taking a break? Is he still active? I've not seen him for
I don't know. He's I think he's still doing a bit of training in his house and going on runs and stuff like that. But as I said, he can't really do much. Not going to be able to spar as his wife, is he? So I think he's just trying to keep fit. But again, as soon as this gets finished, I think like he'll be back fighting again, because he comes down and does some sparring with us and stuff like that. So
is he still at Hammer?
Yeah, he's still there. He's a coach there, and so he stayed there, and we both there at the same time, and he stayed, and I moved on because a lot of the people there are a bit bigger as well. So Aspire is just full of small flyweight, bantam, featherweights, so perfect place for me to be, really.
I guess like you touched on that, the caliber of fighters, especially in the weight division, amateur, is unreal. Yourself, you got Dakota now who's coming through the ranks. You've got Marlon, Liam, Mokiev. Is there anyone else that I've missed that you think are the next up and comers?
There's a few young, like 17, 18-year-olds, like Jake Grundy. He's 3-1 now. Luke Burns is 3-0. There's a few. Ali Sawaki, I think he's 3-2 or 3-1. But the level in our gym, like if you come into the gym and you've been there for like a year and you're not getting any better, you're not gonna get better, because like the level of coaching there is unbelievable.
Do you do any teaching as well, like Liam and Marlon? Do you help with any of that, or?
No, I don't do any coaching myself. But if they need me to help out and be a partner for them to drill on and stuff like that, to show technique, I'll jump in and just help them out whenever I can. Like.
Amazing. So before we go towards the end of the chat and the interview, Scott, we'll go through some quick fire questions. Don't think about it, just answer. Best way to do it sometimes. Ketchup or brown sauce?
Brown sauce.
Mayo or salad cream?
Neither. I don't like it either.
A city break or a beach holiday?
Yeah, beach holiday.
And you said you want a game, but anyway, Xbox or PlayStation?
I've got a PlayStation, so I'll say PlayStation.
When you eat, fork in your left hand or your right hand?
Left. I'm left-handed, so.
The amount of people I've asked this question where they said left because they're left-handed. I'm left-handed as well, but it is the correct hand it's supposed to be in. I thought we was a rarity as left-handers. There seems to be more of us out there than ever. We would have been classed as witches years ago. So, shower or bath?
Shower.
Gi or no gi?
No gi.
Submission victory or knockout?
Knockout, because I haven't had one yet. Soon to come though.
Would you prefer a war or a quick finish?
I'm about a quick finish. I don't want to be punched when I'm older, so quick finish.
And then infamous one, Anderson Silva or George St. Pierre?
Anderson Silva.
Any reason why?
More entertainment fights, I think.
Fair enough. So before we let you go, Scott, anyone you'd like to thank, any sponsors, teammates, etc.?
Well, I've got two sponsors, AR Living and Ivory Bar and Restaurant. They help me out by giving me stuff towards me fight camps and stuff, and then just everyone at Aspire and Phil and Dean and all the other coaches at the gym. Basically, that's it.
Sweet. Last quick question: who wins in a fight, your fiance or Liam?
Liam.
How can people follow you on Instagram or social media, pal?
My Instagram's scottjohnson.96 and my Facebook's just Scott Johnson.
Sweet.
I don't have Twitter or anything like that.
No worries. I'll put it in the bio anyway and release it shortly. But thanks for your time, pal. Stay safe and keep active.
And yourself. Cheers.
Nice one, pal. See you in a bit.